Hi everyone, how are you going? It's a lovely afternoon, isn't it? My name's Kyla and I'm Uniting SA's Manager of Marketing Communications. Thank you so much for joining us today and coming out and possibly finishing work early or finishing whatever early. So today is our second Let's Talk Aged Care information session for today, and I think we're a bit warmer than we were this morning, but bear with us, it is all still fairly new to us in terms of these info sessions with COVID. We've been doing things online, so it's great to be here face to face. So I would also like to welcome a couple of our senior managers across aged care who have joined us today to provide you some really expert advice on each of their areas. So retirement living, residential aged care and home care. So you'll be able to hear about all of those things very, very soon, as well as how to navigate what can be a fairly complex process. I'm not sure who's started the process yet in terms of accessing aged care, but we know that it is a little bit of a complex maze, and we're certainly here to help you unpack that a bit. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Kaurna people as the custodians of the lands on which we gather today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past and present, and to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who join us today. So thank you. Some housekeeping matters, which is always fun before we get started. In the event of an emergency, and I'm hopeful that there won't be one, head out behind you towards the oval through those glass doors. If you require bathroom facilities, they are through down the corridor, but if you speak with one of our team members, we'll certainly guide you there so you don't get lost. We also have masks and hand sanitizer should you wish to use them. In the information packs that you've been provided, also have a range of information about our services, as well as a raffle ticket, so make sure you fill that in. We've got a prize for a dining voucher for a local cafe, which is a lovely spot I'm sure you'll enjoy. Beautiful. About us, this is the bit I'm most passionate about. So I've been working for Uniting SA for about 6 years, and what drew me to Uniting SA is that it is proudly and staunchly local in terms of its Western heritage. Uniting SA was founded in April 1919 in the aftermath of the First World War and amid quite a devastating influenza outbreak. Fast forward 100 years and here we are today, but there you go. We started out because there was a need in the community to provide things like food, shelter, clothing, firewood instead of heating, of course, in those days. And over the last 100 years, we've just grown our services in response to need. So we've grown into mental health, into homelessness, into aged care. You can see an example of that today. Employment services. There's so many. Child, youth and family services. Community housing. Housing's in the news a lot today, but we certainly try and do what we can in that space. And our head office actually remains in the heart of Port Adelaide, which is where we were founded, as I said, over 100 years ago. So we're really proud to be local. And all of our aged care homes, a lot of our services are in northern and western Adelaide, as well as in a number of regions. Our vision, which we've held on to over the years, we are a values-driven organisation, so we're not out there making money, we're out there to deliver great care and to really deliver positive impacts for our community, which again sets us apart. So our vision, as you can see, is for a compassionate, respectful and just community in which all people participate and flourish. So that might be an older person who's participating in vibrant aged care lifestyle programs, or that might be someone that's been supported to find a home and to re-engage in education. We're certainly there to help people at all stages of life. Our aged care services, again, another thing that I love about Uniting SA is we offer services across what we call the full continuum. So from independent retirement living to community aged care, which might be care in your home or support in your community to stay active and enjoy a great lifestyle, to residential aged care, where we do respite, so short-term care, and we also do permanent ongoing care. And it's probably worth mentioning that we've been doing aged care services for over 75 years, so not our full life, but quite a bit of it. So it's something that we're a fairly old hand at. And we also provide services to more than 3,000 older people each year. And I think our next slide, here are some of our locations. So as I said, aged care in particular, we're based primarily in the western suburbs, but also in the north we have Salisbury North, Grange, Seaton, West Lakes, West Lake Shore, Semaphore, Rosewater. We've got a lovely community centre at Taparoo, so we've got quite a patch in the west. And a video for you. So this video is actually some of the people that we work with across our retirement living, home care and residential services. And it's quite a beautiful, quirky video, so I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we always welcome anybody.
Yes,
yeah, we do.
I think that's very important.
When Dad first died, Mum said, I will stay here as long as I can with as much help as I can.
Yes, I did.
Just a smile and a thank you. I love it. I love working with the residents.
We kind of, don't we, Sue? We kind of let people know that, hey, we care about you and you're come to join us.
Yesterday I had a comment, but I'm too old. And I said, you're not too old. I said, you're never too old.
I shall be 92 next week. We've lived in this house for approximately 48 years.
I have no brothers and sisters, so it does feel like Uniting SA fulfil that role for me.
It's community living, but you're not on top of someone else. Sue every now and then likes to roast, don't you?
And I make lots of nice soup and share that around the neighbourhood.
I've got my own little garden on my veranda. And it's lovely to see Dot's birds. Have you been over there to have a look at?
No, I haven't seen the birds. No.
Yeah, well, you want to come and have a look.
We're a very bubbly team, so I think we have ways of communicating with the residents and getting them involved. We try and capture that normality that they did have living in their own home through their interests.
What's good is it can be personalised to your particular needs.
Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, and fortnightly on Thursdays.
And fortnightly on Thursdays, yes.
I can go to work and feel comfortable and confident that Mum's all right.
I put my blinds up as soon as I get up, because if the blinds aren't up, she knows something's wrong.
Nosy. A day is a long time and a night's longer if you're not feeling very well and you don't know who to reach out to. So that's what we've tried to do.
I hope they feel at ease here as much as I do with having them. The company and the conversation is of great interest and a great help, believe me, yes.
When the lifestyle team can show them that it's possible to still do the things that you used to do, I think we can see that they're happy. We do notice they walk away feeling better and they'll thank us and say, you know, I really enjoyed that. You made me happy, or you made me laugh today.
Your house is you. Fortunate up to now, thank you very much, Oliver. I'm able to stay here.
This suits me.
It's the best decision I've made in my life.
You've got to be happy with where you are. That's what's important.
That's right.
So that's just a tiny taste of our community, and they were really beautiful people to work with too. We have just as much fun working with them as they do with us, I hope. So I'm just going to pass on to Bev Manuel now, who's our Manager of Operational Excellence. So that's obviously where we aim to be. We certainly aim to be excellent, not average. So Bev is in charge of that, aren't you?
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. So I'm going to be talking about a couple of things today, but my first lot is going to be talking about the space called My Aged Care. Has anyone got confused, lost? So My Aged Care, it's the process we need to go through to get any care, really. So we're talking home care, respite care or permanent care in an aged care facility. It's a bit of a minefield. I'm just going to throw this down because I had it this morning and I'll just talk instead. It's your first port of call, especially if you don't know what you need. And there are times when you know you've got a loved one or someone at home and you're just not quite sure what services they need to either remain in home or can they remain in home. So My Aged Care, you can give them a call. They've got a 1-800 number. You can also email them, and they can do a little assessment over the phone. So that's just your first point of call, just to go, do we think that this person needs some further care or do they not? So My Aged Care website, if you can navigate it, is a really good tool. It gives you information about services, it gives you information about fees that are charged. There's calculators on there that can work out what your fees will be, whether that is home care. They've got home care fees on there, don't they? And your residential fees. So that's a bit of a minefield in itself. So it's a bit of a call to them. You can, like I said, you can do it on email, you can go online, do it online, or a call. Have your Medicare card handy. If you are doing it yourself, it's a good idea to have someone else with you while you're doing it, because there might be some questions that you get stuck on. And if you're doing it for a loved one, it's probably a good idea to have the loved one there to answer some of those questions, because they might go in depth a little bit further than you know. By the end of that first 10 minutes, you'll kind of get a rough guide of whether you're entitled to some care, needing some care. The lowest level of home care is your Commonwealth Home Support Program, which doesn't require all those other assessments. So the team will be able to tell you what you actually need. You will be given a referral number. This number will kind of become your lifeline now in this day and age. That number is what you need to pass on to the providers. So whoever you choose to go with, whether it's for home care or residential, everyone now is going to be asking for that referral number. So My Aged Care has a cost calculator on it. So if you are looking at permanent care, you can plug in all of your details. You can get a rough estimate of what you'll be required to pay. You can also ring us here at Admissions. We can certainly help you and guide you along the way as well. So going through My Aged Care is going to give you all that information you need to start with. If you get to My Aged Care and you get halfway through and you get a referral number and you really don't know what is next, give us a call. Our admissions team can talk you through it, and it might not be that you need residential, it might be that you need home care, but they can discuss that with you and then put you in touch with the right person, phone number of what you actually require. There's all sorts of services out there that could be social services, so someone that wants to go to an activity, someone that needs transport, through to your home, through to being in a residential care facility. So the government, so residential aged care fees and costs, the government subsidises some of the costs, because if you had to pay yourself, everyone would run away from aged care. No one would be in it. So that information is on My Aged Care. So every single person is a different scenario, different set of questions that you now have in your brain about what do I do with the house, what happens here, what happens with the rental, what happens, do I put the car down as an asset? There's lots and lots of questions. We can help guide you generally through some of those questions. We can't help you complete the paperwork, but we can also point you in the right direction of financial information services. So that is a Centrelink based service that is free, that just has people that will talk to you about the finances. So they call it FIS. It is in some of our information. There it is, it's up there. I think it's in one of our pamphlets, and if it's not, I'm happy to get the number for you. They are really, really helpful. As I said this morning, you may have to wait 20 or so minutes, but they really do know their stuff, and they can tell you down to the dollar of what you should be paying. So I'm just looking. If you've got anything complicated, we suggest you get a financial advisor. We don't go into the in-depth of, you know, we've got a house, we've got a rental, Dad's got a property, there's a farm somewhere. If it's starting to get complicated, we will literally guide you in the right direction of a financial advisor. That's not something that we can do here, and it's a bit of conflict of interest with us trying to place you in our care as well as looking after your finances. We don't do that. So, but we can guide you in the right way if you need some help. That's probably it for my aged care. I will stay here afterwards, so I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has afterwards. And I'm going to hand you over to Margaret, who's going to talk about our independent retirement living.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Margaret Richards. I'm the coordinator of retirement living or independent living units. I've been involved with Uniting SA for over 15 years. I started off as a volunteer at Wesley House Nursing Home, then worked in aged care for many years and now looking after retirement units. If you're over the age of 65 and retired from full-time employment, you might be eligible for one of Uniting SA's retirement living homes or independent living units. This will give you the peace of mind to live in a community with people of your own age who are retired. As a coordinator, I'm available to discuss concerns and options with you to help you stay safe, happy and healthy in your home. I can also help with the process of my aged care. So a lot of people living in retirement living get to the point where they also want aged care, so I can come out and help people go through that process. As a bonus of living in a village, there's no need to worry about any maintenance issues around your home. That's all covered with your weekly maintenance fees. Anything from lights that aren't working, a dripping tap, or an air conditioner that needs to be replaced, or guttering that needs to be looked after, that's all included in your maintenance fees. Retirement living is ideal for people who want to enjoy a community like-minded people who wish to remain living independently and want to keep their options open for further support. Uniting SA has 6 sites of retirement living, 5 in the western suburbs and 1 in the northern suburbs. Here are some of our retirement living communities. So Hawkesbury Gardens is at Salisbury North. We have 29 units there. They're either 2 or 3 bedroomed units. All of them have their own lock-up backyard with a carport and a roller door, so it's nice and secure. You look after your own backyard, but all the communal front yards are maintained by the gardener. McCutcheon Groves at Westlake Shore, we have a site of 29 units. We actually have 2 lots of units. One's McCutcheon Grove and one's McCutcheon Grove West, which is just next door to that. They're very close to the Bartley Terrace Shopping Centre, which is really good for the residents because I think 5 days a week a lot of the residents go there for coffee. So if you ever go into the mall at the Bartley Terrace Shopping Centre, it's usually overrun by our residents. They're all 2-bedroom apartments at the McCutcheon Grove site. The Vista apartments, which are upstairs in this building, are beautiful new 17 apartments, some 2-bedroom, some 3-bedroom. Beautiful scenery from either the Oval, the lake or city nightlights, so they've got beautiful views. We've also got a few areas downstairs that the residents can use, like a barbecue area, a kitchen area and a meeting room. And it's not far from Westlake Shopping Centre and the new complex with some restaurants over the other side. Wesley Court at Rosewater is our smallest group of units. It's all 1-bedroom units. They're at Rosewater. They've all got their own little backyard and they're close to transport, which is the train, and shopping services and medical. Westminster Village is probably one of our most popular sites. There's 38 units at Westminster, all on the ground floor level, 1-bedroom units, all fully self-contained. They've all got their own backyard, which is a lock-up backyard and a little sort of small communal garden. There's a lovely gazebo in the middle of the site where people have barbecues and meetings and things like that. And then Willison Grove at Semaphore Park, that's 16 units. That's located next to a lovely council park. So a lot of people on that site have a little dog and they take advantage of going out to the park. That's close to the beach, and there's also a gazebo entertainment area in the middle of that site. Many of our retirement villages are located close to our aged care facilities, such as Westminster, and obviously the Vista apartments upstairs here are close to our aged care facility, and a couple of others are close to Wesley House as well. Payment for the units vary. depending on which site you're at, and obviously the maintenance fees varies as well. There's no vacancies available at the moment. We've been very popular in the last 12 months, but if anyone's interested in putting their name down for an independent living unit or have someone they know, they can give me a call, or we can give you an application form and have your details put on a waiting list. So any other questions anyone wants to ask afterwards, I'm more than happy to go through that. So next of all is Melissa. Melissa's the Manager of Community Aged Care.
Thank you, Margaret. I am going to talk to you a little bit about our community aged care support and services that we offer at Uniting SA. So our community aged care team is made up of a range of professionals who support older people to remain living independently in their own homes. We offer a range of home care supports for people 65 and over, or 55 for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Some of the supports our community aged care team offer range from low-level entry services that may be social support, community group activities or transport, to more tailored supports through home care packages and transitional care. Most of our in-home services, as Bev mentioned before, can be accessed through My Aged Care, which requires an assessment and approval process. But we also do offer private options for people who aren't eligible for My Aged Care, and it doesn't require any assessments or formal eligibility screenings. To access Uniting SA government subsidised home supports, you'll require an assessment through My Aged Care, which would normally start, like Bev said before, with a phone assessment, and then they'd go through some eligibility information, and then they'd come out to your home and either assess you for low-level Commonwealth home supports or more in-depth in-home care packages or transitional care type options. Our community options program, so this is our Commonwealth home support programs. So we're funded to provide transport, social support or shopping assistance, social outings and group activities, and specialised cultural supports. So this would be determined by My Aged Care. They may determine, look, you only need entry-level services at this point, and then you'll be assessed later if your needs increase or you require home care packages. Our home care packages offer a range of services depending on what level you're provided with. It could be nursing and allied health, personal care and showering, mobility and equipment, meal preparation. It's all very much consumer-directed care. So it's about what the consumer wants, what they're funded for, and how they want to remain living in their own home. Accessing care and support comes with a different pricing structure. So if you're offered a level 1 package, you would get a government subsidy that would provide you with very low level home care supports. Then a level 2, you would get a little bit more subsidy, and so on for level 3 and level 4. The amount of funding you receive will depend on your level you're approved for through My Aged Care. And like I said before, that would mean an in-home assessment from the aged care assessment team that would be more comprehensive than if you were just accessing entry-level Commonwealth home supports. We also offer transitional care packages. So these are for clients who are in hospital, looking to come home, but need that little bit of rehabilitation or support to get back on their feet. They do need to be assessed while they're in hospital for these transitional care packages. You will be assessed by the aged care assessment team, and then you'd be assessed by your local health network to work out what provider they would send you through to. And last but not least, home care or community aged care also look after what's called our group home. It's based at Westlake Shore. We have 12 studio rooms. Everyone has their own room, a kitchenette and a bathroom. You need to be quite independent to live in Vagata Grove. So you can access the home care supports to help you remain independent. And basically what it offers is just a bit of a group environment, some prepared meals for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and also just that support of having other people around you. So I think that's it for me, but I'll be here to answer any questions if you have them after. Thank you.
Thanks, Mel. Okay, now lastly we're going to talk about our residential aged care facilities. So we have 5 facilities, 4 in the west and 1 in the north. We have specialised memory support units. We have 24-hour nursing care. We have a spiritual, emotional and palliative care service. So we do have pastoral care workers on all of our sites. We offer respite and permanent care conditions. So respite is something that years ago, as I explained this morning, it was used for you have a loved one at home or they're in their own home and you're taking holidays or you've got a bit of carer stress and you need a break, you need some relief. That's originally what respite was about. It's changed now. Everyone uses respite as a bit of a try before you buy, before they move in somewhere. We do have limited respite days at all of our facilities, just like any other business. So we do suggest if you are knowing that you need permanent care for someone, that you do take that jump and do the permanent care first. The respite does not secure a permanent spot. So if you're looking for permanent and you think I'll pop someone in to one of our homes for 3 weeks and then at the end if I decide I like it I'm going to stay, that's not how it works. So I'm happy to chat with you after about that, but it's something that we're telling everyone in our admissions lines at the moment, that if you know you need the care and you're offered a bed, it's a good idea to take it. We do lifestyle and activities programs throughout all of our facilities. We have just started doing weekly guided tours in all of our facilities. You can book these online through our website. You can also book them by ringing our admissions teams or the sites directly. They can book them for you. It's pretty exciting because we haven't offered it before, not since I've been here anyway. We're getting a bit of an uptake of the visits, and it's good for you to have a look at one or more homes before you actually decide on the forever home for whoever you're looking for. And we do have options to suit all needs and budgets. So when we talk about my aged care and going through finances, everyone's finances are different, and that's something that is a one-on-one conversation at the time that we're discussing an admission. So our first facility that we're looking at is Hawkesbury Gardens. That's our only one out in the northern suburbs. So it's in Salisbury North, 89 residents. That is co-located with retirement living. Recently expanded award-winning design and on-site kitchen and hairdresser. That's a lovely site. We've got our Seaton Aged Care, which is on Trimmer Parade, not far from here. This site specialises in diverse cultural backgrounds. So apparently the best chef that has ever walked this earth lives at that site and cooks for those residents, and everyone is jealous of the meals. So very small site, very homely site. I think if you move in there, you instantly become part of the family with the staff and the rest of the residents. So yeah, that's it on Trimmer Parade. Wesley House, Semaphore Park, so that's on Military Road. That's our big 2-storey facility, 168 residents. It's a beautiful site. I'm a little bit biased, I don't know why, but that's my little pick right there. Coastal location, modern award-winning facilities. It's got the cafe on site and hairdresser, and that has a memory support unit. So we only have a few sites that have memory support. I should have said that. That Hawkesbury at Salisbury North has memory support unit as well. It's a beautiful site. So then we have this other beautiful site right here, West Lakes Aged Care. It's 108 private rooms, brand new, obviously, looking at it. Facility, pretty highly sought after. A lot of people that live local, very local, this side and that side of West Lakes Boulevard are wanting here. On-site chef-led kitchen and soon to be open on-site cafe. I think I might be standing in it. Yes. Waiting for my coffee. And hairdresser. So beautiful facilities. Then we have Westminster Village at Grange. Again, that's co-located with retirement living. That's 101 residents. We have recently refurbished probably a bit over a third of that. So we actually knocked it down and rebuilt. It has literally just opened the 16th of May, I think, was the opening date. We first moved people in. Absolutely stunning. So that also has a secure memory support unit in there as well. So that's a bit about our facilities. We've got a lot more to tell you, and I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have our admissions team. So if you walk away from here and you're like, I cannot remember what Bev said, or any of our others, then please give our admissions a call and talk to them. They're happy to talk you through the process, happy to help you work out what you need, because if you're new to aged care, it's a bit of a minefield and sometimes you don't know what you need. So any questions, please feel free to ask us. We're going to do a bit of question time now. So Kyla is going to, she's going to steal one mic.
Beautiful. So I might even invite, we've got Mal Rep in here too, who's our Executive Manager of Aged Care. So Mal, I might even put you on the hot seat too, and so she's certainly got a lot of answers for you too. So obviously hearing from us in terms of what we think you'd like to know is great, but obviously everyone's situations are different, and your particular information needs are very different. So doing our question and answer, we think is a really good approach. So please ask anything and we'll do our absolute best to give you some really well-informed answers. And we've just got a roving microphone. Oh, I'll take this one.
I'm not letting go.
All right, does anyone have a question to kick us off with? Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, Karen here. If you're in a facility that's co-located independent and residential and you start off in the independent, does it kind of give you a leg up to the next stage if you need that?
Yeah. So we like to look after our own, as we say. So we've had a number at the moment that have transitioned from our community into our residential. So definitely, there's no promises of 100% guarantee, but if we can accommodate at the time, yes, we do. We like to feed through. Yeah. Oh, hold on.
I'll just add to that. On this site in particular, with our apartments on the top floor level, we've got a few couples in there, and we've already had one of the couples have moved downstairs to the aged care facility. So on this site in particular, it's really handy because they can just go up or down the lifts to see their other family members.
Any other questions? Yep, I'll just wait for a sec. There you go, thank you.
Sorry, my name's Michelle. I've got lots of questions, but ongoing from the last one would be that somebody that's got dementia that is, needs to go to care, but not necessarily a memory ward, would that mean that they would still be able to stay in the same facility, or would they have to go elsewhere? Because the disease is going to progress.
Yes. So that's an assessment that we do, and normally it's at the time of admission, that if things got a little bit worse, if someone deteriorated, could we accommodate them here at this site the whole way through? We would talk that through with every individual family. So if we thought that they didn't need memory support, but we could see down the track that more than likely they would, we would then talk about one of our memory support sites that actually has memory support. But we do have a large number of residents with dementia, Alzheimer's, that are not in our memory support. So it's actually one of the biggest diagnoses now, common diagnoses throughout aged care, that don't end up in a memory support unit. Yep.
So we're very lucky now in the world that we've got technology. So we are able, and some of our facilities have sensors, etc. in rooms. We also have bracelets which look like watches, sensor bracelets. So if somebody wanders aimlessly, but they're not looking like they're going to abscond, there's no reason why they can't move throughout the whole facility. When someone does go into a memory support unit, there is a really strong criteria that we put it against before we put someone in that environment, because it is a very overwhelming move to go into an environment that you can't go and leave as you would wish. And normally when consumers do move into that environment, then very rarely will they look at absconding, and if they do, we get geriatrician intervention. And it's more about, we don't want them to be affected every day going to a door and I can't get out. So we do everything we can before a person goes into a memory support unit. Yeah.
My other one, if that's okay, is about, now it's gone out of my head. Oh, of course, I've got dementia. What were we talking about? That if somebody goes into residential care and they really, really hated where they were, and we really, really hated what was happening, how do you move between facilities or care, support services?
So
is it detrimental to their finances and anything?
So it actually happens quite regularly, and for a number of reasons. It might be you don't like the facility, or the families move to a different area and want their parents to be close. There could be a number of reasons. We take transfers regularly here, and I'm sure all the other services do. So it literally is so if you were here and you wanted to move, we would supply all of our information to the next facility that you were looking at. They do their assessment on the paperwork of whether they could accommodate the needs of, So, and quite often if you've paid any money, so any funds here, it's transferred over, dependent on what their requirements are. So if it's like for like, you can just transfer it over. So it's not uncommon, and it does happen. We've actually, at the moment, we're trying to get someone from New South Wales over here, because the daughter's moved to Adelaide. So yeah, it's not an uncommon thing.
Thank you.
No problems.
Thank you. Any other questions? Beautiful question.
Hello, my name is Eva. I'm just a little bit confused about, like, with the residential care. Do they always have, like, with a house, obviously, does it always have to be sold to cover the cost, or the pension will be enough for most of the time, or it depends what the needs are?
Okay, so we'll do one scenario and then we'll do another, okay? So we have got someone on a full pension and they own a house and they come into care. Dependent on the site that they're going to, we have what we call RADs, so refundable accommodation deposits, and they vary across our sites. So they would be required to pay that refundable accommodation deposit. If they had the house and they were happy to sell it, they pay that. That money goes back to the resident if they leave, or the family. If they wanted to move in and they didn't want to sell the house, they can pay a higher daily fee instead of selling the house. So every situation is so different, and there are multiple ways. You could pay a lump sum. So let's say it was 500,000. You could pay a lump sum of 100,000 and the rest in a higher daily fee. You could pay the 500,000 in full and you're just paying the basic daily fee. So the basic daily fee is, and I said this morning that I would look this up, I think it's $56.84, something like that, a day. Everybody pays that. That's a standard. So about 85% of the pension covers all of the care needs, laundry, cleaning, food, wound care, etc. It doesn't cover medications, and then any incidentals, haircuts, etc. So everybody pays that fee. it's then the negotiation on the rest of the fees. And it's literally every scenario is different. We take admissions, you know, all the time, and there's no two the same. People pay it differently. So you can keep a house if you want. If you then go to another situation where mum and dad have got the house and dad enters care, mum stays in the house isn't classed as an asset. Mum is still living in that house. So the assets are then what's in the bank. Do they get super payments? You know, do they have a trust somewhere? So it can be quite complex. If you've got a house and not much else, it is an easy process. But if you have any money anywhere else, it becomes a little bit complicated. That's why we suggest financial information services. They are really good to give them a call. You can be honest with them. You can say they've got 80,000 in this bank. They've got, you know, 10,000 over here. They've got the house, da-da-da-da-da, and they can work out the fees for you. So, and they can tell you the fee structure. So whether you need to pay it up front, whether you can pay it daily. Does that answer? It's very confusing, I know, but...
Cool. Any other questions? Beautiful. Lovely. I think we're going to have to give you a prize.
Seriously thinking about all this.
Asking what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah, this one is because we are really close to needing to do something, but we have looked at other providers, and one of them, lots of them have extra fees. So do Uniting have, and is that lots or little?
No. so your extra services can be things we don't per se, but we provide everything that everyone else provides in the norm. But you can, if you want extra physio, you can pay for extra physio. You know, there's certain things that we say. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'll
You got that?
So, Uniting SA at this time doesn't, but there has actually been, through different cohorts coming through, there has been the question asked because, you know, as we say, there's lots of different people that will move into residential. So Uniting SA is looking at this process at the moment, but it's more about an option of, you know, if somebody, you know, wants to have wine with their dinner, then they will be paying, you know, pay extra to have this certain package. But at this time we haven't, but we've actually been asked about it, and we've actually been told other people are offering it, why aren't you? So, you know, where previously we didn't think it was probably needed, there is people coming through, and there's other people that say, I don't really want Foxtel, I'm not interested, so I really don't want to pay the fee to have it in the door. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. And I'm glad the sun's just ducked down.
Yes, I know.
I felt for you.
My name is Andrew. It is a small observation than actually a question while we are subject on a Foxtel and etc. As we are in a aged care facility, it's beautiful. It's top notch. I've been here before. I've seen the facility, and it's absolutely no problem. But having all the people and the technology, I don't think that those televisions in those rooms are operational by those people. I had a problem hooking it up and operating it. So what I'm saying is that those older folks that are here, they don't watch those televisions because they don't know how to turn it on. And this is just more observation.
Yes, so the other thing as well is that we do provide televisions, but also families will, like, you can buy remotes that are bigger. So we provide a television, but if somebody needs a remote because if they can't use the remote that's there, we do, of course, have, you know, we do have lifestyle staff that will go and assist, or any of us really, nurses, anyone will go and assist if somebody needs assistance and they're having trouble. When someone comes in on an admission, we definitely go through all of that. And of course, as you're aware, with dementia and things like that, every day sometimes what you remembered yesterday isn't with you today. So it's an ongoing process, but we do provide it because there is some that can, and the ones that can't, the staff will turn it on adjust it and put it onto the channel that they wish, or speak to the family if they can't express what they would like, and we see what their interests were previously so that we can make sure that that's what they're viewing through the television. But yeah, I totally agree. Technology is great, but sometimes it kills the best of us.
Any other questions? Yeah, cool. Oh, I think you want to as well. Yeah, and I think the lady in the middle's next, so there we go.
Yeah,
Thank
this is
you.
my last one. This one is just really a scenario of like older people are living lots longer, and my mother-in-law doesn't have a huge amount for a RAD. If she was to live for a really long time, what happens if her money runs out? If we're to a point, do we become responsible? That sort of thing. Yeah.
So every situation is totally different. So sitting here now talking about this could be totally different for the next person. We do, and we spoke about it this morning, we do take supported residents. So not everyone that comes through our door has to pay that RAD. If they don't have that money, it's dependent on financial. So we do discuss that, and our finance team do discuss that individually with each person. And there's agreements that are made between individual families. The one thing I can say is if the assets are there, it is not us who will determine, it is Centrelink. So they will say, you have to pay that. So if you feel you're drawing down on money, etc., then that's a conversation with finance. No one that I know in my life has been turfed out of a bed because they have used up all of their money. So that would not happen. But it is an individual conversation, and our sites all charge differently. They're not all the same. So it might be you're looking at one site and we go, actually, you can't afford that site, but we could offer you another site. And like you said, if you're using your RAD, so your refundable accommodation deposit, to pay down, yes, it will run out. If they live to 110, it's not going to be there. But then we would look at, that as an individual case, and no one would be sent out of the bed.
Did you have anything else to?
That's right. So security of tenure is in your agreement, and that means that that bed is with you for the rest of however long someone is here. So same with a room move. If there was a need and we said we needed to move someone to a secure unit or another bed, it's all in consultation with the family. We can't just come to someone and say, hey, we're going to do this move. Bad luck if you're not happy. That's not how it operates. It's all in the contract. Yeah, security of tenure. Yeah, and it'll be, well, it should be in every contract. Yep. And we do it again on every room move if required. Yep. Sorry, Kyla.
It's a very specific question around the shared living. Is it pet friendly? The shared living option that you had up there.
Retirement living, Faggoter Grove, or retirement living?
It was like community living. It was called, had the title shared living on the slide.
Yeah, we don't actually have pets that are able to be there because
Right.
there's 12 different residents, so we've got to accommodate for everyone's needs.
Sure.
Some have allergies.
Yeah, right.
And we did have a friendly cat that was there for a little while. Yes, we're not sure who it belonged to, if it was to one of the residents or who, but suddenly I was sitting there and a cat just walked past and I was like, does this belong to one of you? He seemed to know everyone, but no, unfortunately we can't accommodate pets. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Who's been missing out? I think we can direct more Margaret's way. Margaret, what are there any questions that you get posed quite frequently about retirement living?
Yeah, with the retirement living,
What age do we have to be?
over 65 and retired from full-time employment. I forget what the question was now.
It was your question. Is there anything that you get asked frequently about retirement
Yeah, we
living?
have a number of different sites, as we had a look on the screen. The sites start at around about 60,000 and go up to 735,000 which is here. So with the lower sort of end pricing with the 1-bedroom units, if you leave within the first 4 years, you get a portion of that back. After 4 years, you don't get any of the funds back. With the places that cost more, like McCutcheon Grove and upwards, you're always guaranteed of 75% back of what you've paid when you enter the premises. 25% is retained by us, and that covers all your refurbishment, remarketing and everything. So when someone decides to leave, they've paid out the 75,000 and that's it. So there's nothing else to pay after that. There's no continual fees until someone takes over the unit. Our independent living sites are pet friendly. We have a number of little dogs, preferably little dogs, and cats that don't wander. I think the cat that you're talking about would belong to a resident from one of our retirement villages, which is right behind Faggoter Grove. She's got a cat, so it's obviously jumped the fence and gone wandering. Yeah.
So I think one of the really interesting things, as we spoke about earlier, is the fact that we've got 3 of our communities which are really co-located and closely located with retirement living. So I know I've got a mother-in-law that's in one of our retirement living villages. My father-in-law was in one of our homes, and she was able to just really freely go between both sites so easily. And given she was there from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m, that was a really important thing. So I think that Uniting SA West Lakes know that a number of our couples that are here, there's a member of the couple that might have more health needs than the other person. So this has been really popular for a lot of people with those differing health needs. Any other questions?
If can I bring up something that I think is on everybody's tongue? COVID and visitation. I get a lot of phone calls, all of us do. So what our approach at Uniting SA is for visitation, we want to strongly have visitors through our doors. We work through a process that when we do, so we have an infection control consultant, our site managers, and we have a leadership meeting that we hold twice a week, and if it all goes crazy, we bring it up to daily or maybe 3 times a week. What we look at is we look at the risk and we look at how many positive cases we've got for consumers. So the hardest thing is that we know by opening our doors we will get COVID to come in, but we don't want to stop our residents and our families being together and friends. So we do it on a risk basis. So we send out daily communication. So Kyla is our marketing guru, manager over there. So we work with her team, so we're getting very regular comms out to families on a very movable situation. And what we have been applying is the first thing we do is room isolation. So if somebody tested positive and we have 2 cases, we will room isolate in an area. If we then have an increase, we might zone a certain part of the area. What we've been very lucky with is our numbers have gone up, but then they start to come down at the same time, which is a blessing. But with the latest strains that have come through, we've seen a very different pattern. So previously we were seeing that we might get a little cluster, we could really manage it well, and you were able to open up that zoned area quite quickly. With the new strains that come in over the last couple of weeks, we found it very scattered. So we had people that were showing negative through PCR, and then 2 days later they've got a positive PCR. So what we then move to is if we've got increased numbers again, we'll go into lockdown areas. We very rarely, unless we have to, for the safety of our residents, because if you've got a few that haven't actually picked up a positive, to then bring it back into the facility would be quite distressing, I think, for everyone. That's the only time we will put a site into lockdown, and we do a daily review of that site. So it's not like it gets locked down and we leave it. We're looking at them numbers constantly. What we say to our visitors coming in, I know that at some organisations they do ask some family members to do full PPE, visor, the whole lot. We just ask that you are vaccinated as per the government directives, and that you also wear a mask. What happens is if we have a lockdown or we have a zoned area and someone is end of life, that we do allow family to come in, but they have to do full PPE, it's end of life visits. If someone, I had a good question today from a family member who hasn't had the flu shot, someone's end of life, you know, can I come in? The government actually put the directive in that if you are not vaccinated against the flu, you can come and do one visit in the facility with full PPE. So, you know, that's saying, and then you're encouraged to encourage that person to go and have the flu shot. As we're aware, there is people that do choose not to be vaccinated. So one other thing I will say is any time that we are mandating that you can't visit because of a vaccination, that is because we are actually held under the legislation and law to say that we can't actually permit people. But we work very hard. Visitors are crucial, and you know, our residents really love seeing their loved ones, so we work very hard to make sure we keep the doors open when we can.
Can I just add to that there's quite a bit of confusion, and we have to remember that the legislation for everyone keeps changing. So what we say today on visitation rights can well change tomorrow. We don't know. It's a surprise when we get the directions notice. So if you're sitting there thinking about past visits and that didn't happen for us, we are up to directions 49 notice. Yeah, so it's in the public. Yeah, so it does change. So what happened 3 weeks ago is different again to what happened today. So we're not being difficult. If you think any aged care facility is being difficult, they're not. We're just trying to follow the directions as they are.
Thanks for clarifying, Bev. Is there anything else that anyone would like to ask? Or if not, it's definitely tea, coffee, and we've got some lovely snacks over there too. Any final questions? Forever hold your peace. Okay, beautiful. And if you could just make sure that you've got your raffle tickets. We'd love to collect those. Kelsey has her raffle ticket drawer. And I think we have a $50 voucher for Daily Fix, which is just the other side of the oval, and apparently it does a mean coffee. And although you've asked some questions now, it's also your chance to ask some one-on-one conversations. So feel free out there. The team will move around and have chats and talk to you more about your situation. Thank you. And Pat is another member of our team over here. Thank you, Pat.